everyone. I am the movie guy. I was once Epic Movie Reviews like a long time ago, but we'll get to that train wreck later. I was originally planning to review Ant-Man, but since you guys have all seen it by now, because it came out like 2 weeks ago, I thought I'd talk about a major issue in Hollywood now because well everyone has beat me to that problem and them explaining the problem with Hollywood. I thought why can't I just show my opinion on how Hollywood is now? So here I am. I'm going to tell you guys about my opinion on how Hollywood has been. So movies nowadays. You name me like the last original action movie. You probably gotta take a while to think about it. But let me just give you my theory on why there's always sequels and remakes. You see, back in the days, we had original movies like Terminator 2, Star Wars, Die Hard, you name it. But as more audience members or like a new age came in, people just looked like people are my age, but not like movie savvy as I am. But they just watch movies, They go to the theaters and they see these sequels and remakes, but they don't like to watch the original. Why? Because they're old. That's how they describe it. They're old, and when something's old, that means to them that there's terrible CGI, not cool action scenes, and this doesn't hold up. While some of those things are correct about some movies, well, actually, I can't think of a movie, but bottom line is everyone just sees like a movie like Terminator 2 or Die Hard as just how did people like this when they were growing up? So Hollywood just looked at that and they realized that half the audience members are like 10 to 16 years old, and noticed that they always sneak out to go. They buy like let me take an example. You buy a ticket to go see Avengers: Age of Ultron, but you don't use that ticket, and instead you go see Mad Max: Fury Road. Hollywood started to notice that, and soon they started to make every movie that was rated R back in the day PG-13 so that they could make the money. Not only that, but they always tried to remake it. Not only just changing the MPA rating, but to just remaking the same thing over and over again. I'm gonna use this as an example. Jurassic World. That movie just came out like on June 12th, and we already saw how it did. The third highest grossing film of all time. But why do you think that? Well, because most people who saw it never saw the original and have no intention of seeing the original. But they saw this one and they were thinking, oh my god, that's an original idea. No one's ever done a movie about that. Except I have no idea how you can't notice that there was an original Jurassic Park. But they know that, but they don't watch the original Jurassic Park. Because like I said, they think it has terrible CGI, not so great acting, and stuff that doesn't hold up. I'm gonna call bull on people who say that about Jurassic Park, or Terminator 2, or Die Hard. But let's get to the point. I'm here to talk about Hollywood's biggest problem now. Even though everyone has already done this, I want to take my opinion. I want to take my time to express my opinion on how they keep doing this. Are there some necessary sequels and remakes, or are they all just unnecessary? Okay, so there are big problems with Hollywood movies, but let's start off with a small flaw in Hollywood movies first, before we get to the big ones. Now, the first small one I want to talk about is something that's popped up more recently. Villains. Now, villains in movies used to be like this really big thing because these villains were fleshed out. They had a motive. They had this personal backstory, and sometimes you were just so conflicted that you didn't know who to root for. Did you want to root for the hero or the villain? Like, take I'm gonna come back to it. But let's take Ant-Man. Yellow Jacket Darren Cross, and then I'm going to compare him to Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man 2. The two can't be compared, but let me just talk about them. First, let's talk about Doc Ock. Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, he was a fleshed out character. How? Because the movies filled up on him. Dr. Otto Octavius was this brilliant scientist. He was married, and his life's work was about to pay off. But this horrible science accident went wrong. His wife was killed, and all of his work was destroyed. So the dude is dysfunctional. He doesn't know what to do, and all he has are these four mechanical arms attached to him. So what does he do? Turns to the life of crime to redo his mistake. And then by the end of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock came to the realization that what he was doing was horrible. That his wife wouldn't approve of this, and this is not him. So what Octavius does is he sacrifices himself, destroys everything. And I want to say Darren Cross from Ant-Man. No, these two, like I said, these two characters, they can't be compared, but I want to give an example of a good fleshed out superhero movie villain, and a not so good fleshed out movie villain. Darren Cross was the assistant, apprentice, whatever you decide to call it, of Hank Pym back in the day when Pym was Ant-Man. And Pym developed the Pym particle. What was the Pym particle? Well, it was the ability to shrink down Ant-Man. And Hank did not want anyone finding out about it, because if they did, then well, chaos would break, and if everyone had the power of Ant-Man, then there'll be chaos. And Darren Cross wanted to know, how did he know about the Pym particle, or what the Pym particle was. Well, they were doing their research, but Hank kept pushing him away, because in the movie he says, "You reminded me too much of myself," and he just said, "No, I can't do this anymore." And now the present day, Darren Cross finally perfects the Ant-Man formula, and is ready to unveil it. And he shows Hank, but he doesn't really want to show Hank. He just wants to kill Hank for what he did to him all those years. And that's why he invites him to see the presentation, because he wants to take him to the room and kill him. And you see, the movie doesn't spend time to flesh out Yellow Jacket. You don't really feel like you're going to have the conflict of seeing who you want to root for. I mean, the only reason why you would want to root for Yellow Jacket is because the suit was way cooler than Ant-Man's. That's why I would root for him. But alright, now let's take another character, Immortan Joe, and I want to compare him to Davy Jones. So Immortan Joe in Mad Max Fury Road was this fake religious figure that, if his war boys or his soldiers sacrificed themselves for his needs, they would be awaited in Valhalla, his heaven. But the thing is, Immortan Joe isn't fleshed out. You just get into the movie and you notice, okay, hey, yeah, there's Immortan Joe. Nothing more, nothing less. The character's not fleshed up. Why does he claim he's better than everyone else? Why can't anyone else just take up his mantle? Nothing. Now let's take Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest and Pirates of the Caribbean At World's End. Davy Jones was what? I forget, I think his real name was Davy Jones. I can't remember his other name, but he was a sailor, and he fell in love for a goddess named Calypso. So Calypso bounded him to the sea in a ship, and said he must carry the dead souls over to another world, which was his locker. And she said that every 10 years he's allowed to walk on land for one day. And the day came on that year, but when he came, where was she? Not there. So Jones became a corrupted old tentacle guy. See, that character was fleshed out and done well, pretty good. I mean, Bill Nighy plays the performance well, and you could clearly see where his backstory goes. Immortan Joe has no backstory. You don't know why he's doing this other than to prove that he has the bigger stick than anyone else does. That he has all these slaves, the trees, and everything. What I'm saying is that these villains aren't fleshed out. And Marvel, they're trying to make another Loki with Ultron and Yellow Jacket, but they can't, because the thing that made Loki magical, not only just for fangirls because of Tom Hiddleston's performance, but that the character was fleshed out. He was this kid who wanted to just get his father's acceptance after the discovery that he was adopted and he's a frost giant. That's why he can never be king. Excuse me. So what he wanted to do was kill his father's enemies and gain his father's respect. But when his father said that's not the way, he killed himself, and now he swore vengeance against Odin. That's a good fleshed out Marvel villain, like Doctor Octopus or Magneto. Magneto is another good example of a fleshed out villain. But for villains like Malekith, Ronin, and Yellow Jacket, are, well, the Mandarin. Well, the Mandarin was pretty much ripped off of Incredibles, but they aren't fleshed out. Villains need to be more fleshed out. They need to be given some room to breathe. They need to be given a bigger script, a more expansion. We need to feel for these villains. And that's why I say that Hollywood needs to look at the old villains and make them as fleshed out as they made Darth Vader, Dr. Octopus, Magneto, you name it, fleshed out. So the next point I'm going to make, which is my second point, the third point could be the last one, is plot and characters. Okay, so if you heard about the movie Run All Night, it's pretty much a basic Liam Neeson movie where he goes off killing people and protecting his family. Where have we not seen that before? And I can't put my foot on it. Probably is super original. Or take Spy, a movie about a person who goes undercover to stop this thief or criminal. Gee, where have I not seen that before? I don't know. I guess these ideas are going to come to my head soon. But bottom line, guys, these plots that are stories that are being made nowadays, they're not original. Or neither the characters. Sure, Run All Night introduces this new character because of their names and stuff and their backstories, but they're pretty much the same movie. They're pretty much the same movie as a Liam Neeson movie. And let's take like old plots from original movies. Jurassic Park introduced audiences to a lot of things, and then Jurassic World pretty much did the same thing but made more money. Terminator, sending someone back in time because the future's all screwed up. Yeah, I wonder who ripped off that one. That was a good movie though. And To Edge of Tomorrow, that one was a pretty original idea. A man who, every time he dies, he resets the day, and he has to use that power to beat the enemy. I like that plot, and I love the movie. And these things, somehow, they're really great plots, but they don't make money. Because, why? Well, because everyone wants to go to see the next Avengers movie, or probably the next Terminator. I mean, let's take Inception. That was an amazing plot. That was a really original plot from a really original director, Christopher Nolan. A man who breaks into people's dreams and steals their ideas. That's original. No one ever thought of that idea. Well, I mean, there probably is some other movies, but we'll forget that. And the characters, they were pretty original. I mean, well, they probably. But I mean, how many times have you seen Jason Bateman as this mild-mannered business guy? Or how many times have you seen Adam Sandler play the same... Oh, wait, that's his whole career, my bad. But, well... we already know the big gripe. Transformer movies, they always use the same plot, the same characters, and everything. There's nothing new or original about that one. So Michael Bay, or the studio who makes the Transformers movies, listen up. Introduce a new plot to the next Transformers movie, or make something original, the Transformers movie, and maybe, just maybe, you guys might get a good positive review instead of getting like, 32s or 29s on Metacritic and like 19s on Rotten Tomatoes. Also, I point that out to all other sequels and remakes. Bottom line, guys, you need to introduce a new plot, new characters that aren't the same as pretty much that same actor's career. Like take Tomorrowland. Oh, sure, it wasn't that great of a movie, but it was an original movie. I mean, it was based off this portion of Disney, but that portion didn't have much backstory. So Brad Bird made this into his own thing. And Pirates of the Caribbean, sure, is based off of a ride, so you can't do much, but Pirates of the Caribbean proved to be on its own. It's to stand on its own feet, to neglect the ride. It wanted to be its own thing, so they introduced Captain Jack Sparrow, Davy Jones, Blackbeard, and you name it. And Frank Walker from Tomorrowland, played by George Clooney, is the same as every George Clooney role, where George Clooney is an American playboy, like just this ladies' man. Instead, he's just this guy who's down on luck, and he doesn't want to be back a part of the world. So in the end, guys, if you're gonna make a new or original movie, introduce a new plot and new characters. But when you do make this new plot, don't make it too convoluted or complex, otherwise you could have another Jupiter ascending on you. Okay guys, so here is my third and final problem with all modern day movies, or, well, just something that Hollywood needs to fix up on. Stop with all the sequels, remakes, reboots, or anything that you guys continuously shoehorn out. That is not original. Guys, there was this movie called Dope that came out around the time when Jurassic World was just killing the box office. It was an original movie. It got critically acclaimed. I didn't watch it because, well, when it comes to drama, the genre of drama, they're always original. They make some pretty good movies like Whiplash, Imitation Game, you name it. So I would wait for Redbox. But there's movies like Ex Machina. But who stomped that box out? Who stomped over that one? Furious 7. Or Kingsman, even though it's based off a comic. Who stomped that? Chick flick. That's another thing. Stop with the chick flicks. Those two also screw up Hollywood. I mean, guys, here's what Hollywood is right now. They are a virus. They are a virus that's corrupting everyone. Audience members that aren't that big on movies, and they're saying, forget about the original idea that studio just released. Go see this sequel, remake, chick flick, whatever. Because why? Well, we're Hollywood. You guys are gonna shove it all up, and we've already created a sequel. So we better get our money. Yeah, that's what Hollywood is. There are some remakes that are necessary. Like Godzilla was a really necessary remake because, well, it needed to introduce younger audiences to Godzilla. Or King Kong, that was a very necessary remake. But don't take what I just said too literal. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road was a very unnecessary remake. I know you hate on that, but I loved the movie. It was probably the best action movie in the last 5 years. But was it really necessary? Yeah, I'm gonna get really hated on for saying this. But, you guys get what I'm saying. Guys, there's so many unnecessary sequels and remakes out there, but they somehow just make money. I was happy when I heard Terminator Genesis was a flop in the box office because that was number 1 on my list of top 10 unnecessary sequels and remakes that are coming out in 2015. And well, by the trailer, it looked terrible. But guess what? Paramount has already greenlit a sequel, actually a trilogy, because apparently 3 Terminator movies that was already screwed up wasn't enough to ruin Terminator. Don't act like you don't know what the 3 movies are. Rise of the Machines, Salvation, Genesis. I was on Facebook a couple weeks ago when I was on vacation. A guy told me that he wanted to go see Inside Out. But the problem was, the theater was empty. Why? Everyone else was going to see Jurassic World. I love both movies, but I would be with that guy in the theater watching Inside Out if I wasn't on vacation. Because I wanted to see Inside Out, because that's an original idea. It's very original. I liked the movie, I saw it, I loved it. 10 out of 10. Yes, What do you think overshadowed Inside Out? There are so many studios that just shoehorning them out. Instead of coming up with something original, they are just remaking the same story you heard, or just continuing on with the same thing. What do you want my evidence? The Transformers series. 4 movies. They're the same thing. They're released every other year. But why do they make money? Because Michael Bay just shoves some explosion CGI and the ability to make you go back and watch another movie no matter how bad the last one was. Because Michael Bay is probably pretty much the corruption of Hollywood. That's another problem with Hollywood. Michael Bay.
I'm Michael Bay, director of Hollywood hits such as Transformers.
He is a big problem. He is probably the one who's influencing sequels and remakes. Why? Because Michael Bay went to go prove that everything is all about money. Why? Because Paramount Pictures, I'm going to take them, because I really hate them. Because they only have a few good movies like Mission Impossible 4, the Mission Impossible series, Star Trek. Yeah. But after Transformers, there were some movies. No, I'm not counting like the MCU movies. So. But after Paramount saw Michael Bay and what he did, they just decided, let's shoehorn a bunch of sequels and remakes out and down people's throats. One of those are, or more specifically, big dumb exploding movies. One of those evidence? Cowboys and Aliens, the G.I. Joe movies, Battleship. Alright, I had to think before this because, I've been going on for 30 minutes about this stuff. The Terminator movies that are coming out now, that after Judgment Day. You name it. Just name it. Michael Bay is pretty much a corruption because he just goes to prove that Hollywood is just in it for the money. They don't care about the heart, the soul of a movie, or the fans. They just care about making the money. That's all. That is all I have to say about the problem with Hollywood. Big problem with Hollywood, Michael Bay, and sequels and remakes. So guys, that was my opinion on why Hollywood is, screwed up, or the problem with modern day movies. But I would love to hear what you guys think of the problem with modern day movies or these new movies. As always, it's always nice to hear feedback, so comment, like, subscribe. I know it's always like, comment, subscribe, but I changed it up. And, you stay classy. I just Anchorman though.